call the meeting to order. Monday, August 21st, 2006, right at 7:03 p.m. Invocation this evening, Pastor William Chambers of the Church of the Nazarene, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by the Police Explorers and Vice Mayor Lawson. Would you all please stand?
Our great, loving Heavenly Father, we all stand before you realizing you have blessed us tremendously with life, with our leaders, with our city, where we're located. May we have grateful hearts. May we look to you for the strength we need to live lives bigger than ourselves that'll reach out to others and those around about us, that we'll leave a world that is a better place for the coming generations to live. We realize there's great decisions that have to be made, decisions that will use our skills and our abilities and of our leaders, Lord. Give them the guidance that they need. In each one of us, may there be a spirit of unity and willingness to see a great future. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Carefree color. Free. So very much.
Please join with me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, face. Go ahead, right.
You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Chambers, and thank you, Vice Mayor Lawson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Warren?
Here.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Here.
Councilwoman Bell? Here. Councilwoman Garner? Here. Councilman Hodge?
Here.
Councilman Porter?
Here.
Councilwoman Waldman? Here.
Additions, deletions, deferrals?
Yes, Mayor. We have a deferral, a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting preliminary plat and site plan approval for Homestead Pavilion, a commercial retail center consisting of 399,600 square feet on approximately 36.97 acres of land located north of Southwest 312th Street, Campbell Drive, east of Southwest 157 Avenue, west of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, and south of Southwest 308th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
Which one is that?
4A.
Okay.
It's brilliant.
Motion for deferral?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Howard, second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Mr. Porter. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else, Mr. Manager?
That's all.
Special presentation. 5A is the insurance legislation presentation. Mr. George Cray, All-State Council, Florida Region, Councilman Hodge.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mr. Kroll comes forward, I just wanted to announce that several meetings ago, Ms. Wallman wanted to get some information from an insurance company and what the insurance companies do, and I thought about that, and most of you know I just recently opened an Allstate agency in March, and thought about contacted Mr. Carr and asked him would he come down and give us a short presentation. And one of the things that I am proud of is that, Allstate do support a lot of good legislation that not only benefits them but benefits the consumer as well. And oftentimes there's just not enough support behind it. So hopefully, we can learn something today and maybe get behind Mr. Carr and help him do a better job at what he's already good at doing. So with that said, Mr. Carr.
Well, thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Mayor. The E at the end of my name is what throws everyone off. My father one time told me to take that off. Maybe it would be easier to say it the right way, and the way we pronounce it is Gras, like Mardi Gras. But if we took the E off, then we wouldn't have any fun, and I would have had less to talk to you about this evening. So it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I came here today. I live in Tampa, Florida. The headquarters for the Allstate Floridian, the Florida operation, is in the Tampa Bay area, but in fact, I grew up in Homestead, Florida. So it was very interesting to come here. I have not been here for several years. I played ball across the street at Harris Field. I went to grade school at Sacred Heart. Took a ride over there today. Pretty much looks the same way it did when I went to school there. Just a few less nuns. I couldn't find one, as a matter of fact. I guess I ran them all off. Anyway, it was a wonderful place to grow up, and you all are doing a wonderful job here. The city looks wonderful, and it's growing, obviously, quite a bit. It was struck very hard by Hurricane Andrew, and it's just tremendous to see the recovery that has occurred here, and thank you for all of your hard work. Following Hurricane Andrew, of course, the folks that are here, they know how this particular area was devastated, and we also know how hard the insurance industry was hit, and that there was a tremendous crisis after Hurricane Andrew from a variety of standpoints, not the least of which was a lack of insurance, that there was a lack of available and affordable insurance. Those two words, available and affordable, are things that I think everyone is very interested in when they go out and buy any sort of product. Insurance is a product. We want there to be plenty of competition in the insurance marketplace, because we all know when a free market operates properly and there's a great deal of competition, prices will be as low as they can possibly be. So following Hurricane Andrew, there was no competition. In fact, there was no insurance, and our economy in the state of Florida nearly ground to a halt. Following Hurricane Andrew, the things that were done legislatively to rectify that situation was the strengthening of building codes. Thankfully, South Florida for many years had a strong building code. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a disconnect between a strong building code and actually making sure that the homes were built in accordance with the code. And so following Hurricane Andrew, a lot of work was done, and I'm not telling this city council anything. A lot of work had to be done to make sure that the building codes were enforced, because we all know that a home that is built to a strong code is less likely to incur a loss, and fewer losses mean that our insurance prices will be much more affordable. So following Hurricane Andrew, there were stronger building codes, an encouragement that there be greater enforcement. There was the creation of something known as the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund. The Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund did not exist until Hurricane Andrew occurred, and it was necessary because there was a lack of available reinsurance. You might ask yourself, what is reinsurance? Well, believe it or not, insurance companies buy insurance, and what they purchase is something known as reinsurance. Following Hurricane Andrew, the reinsurers have been hit very hard, and they chose not to write any more reinsurance in the state of Florida. And when there was no insurance available for the insurance industry, there was a tremendous problem and a lack of available and affordable insurance. So the state of Florida created the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund, which is in essence reinsurance that is always available, regardless of the number of hurricanes that occur. There will be available a state-sponsored catastrophe fund, which is reinsurance, very, very affordable reinsurance. The other thing that happened after Hurricane Andrew is there was a an expansion of the wind pool. It used to be the wind pool boundaries were Monroe County, just south there in the Keys. There was no way you could write a policy in Monroe County. No one would write a policy down there. And so the state, years and years before Hurricane Andrew, created, in essence, a wind exclusion area so that insurance companies could write all the other insurance coverage, and then the state would assume the wind risk. Following Hurricane Andrew, that wind pool boundary was expanded beyond Monroe County to go far up into Broward and Palm Beach counties and east of I-95 to the ocean. The other thing that happened after Hurricane Andrew to solve this affordability and availability problem was the creation of the Florida Residential Property JUA, what we now know as Citizens, the Citizens Property Insurance Corporation, which is the insurer of last resort. When there is no insurance available in the private market, you have this state-sponsored insurance company. It got a lot of criticism over the last couple of hurricane seasons, but without that insurer of last resort, our economy would grind to a halt. Real estate closings cannot occur unless there is insurance available at the time of the closing. Lenders will not lend money unless there is insurance available. So it is tremendously important that this insurer of last resort actually be available so that when these storms inevitably hit, our economy does not grind to a halt. It's been said that insurance is the oxygen of the free enterprise system, and if you think about it for a moment, it is absolutely true. This city council meeting, I doubt, could take place without insurance. Your city attorney probably would not allow people to walk in here for fear that there's some exposure. Someone might slip and fall and sue the city, and a prudent thing to do would be to have a reinsurance program set up, a self-insurance program, a purchase of insurance, but some way to defer or shift that risk. Anybody who owns a business would not be able to operate a business without insurance, so obviously it's important to have that. So these things happened after Hurricane Andrew. And in the 2004 hurricane season, something happened that no one could have envisioned. The creation, or all of this legislation that I've just described and these processes that were put in place to return affordability and availability, all envisioned another Hurricane Andrew, one big storm in a hurricane season. We didn't think that there would be 4 storms in a 6-week period. We didn't think that there would be 8 hurricanes in 2 seasons. And so this system that was put in place to be prepared for another big storm had something missing. These multiple storms that occur, multiple big storms that occur in a hurricane season. But because of all the good things that had been done after Hurricane Andrew, our economy continues to clip along. It continues to do very well. Although homeowner insurance is much less available, and I'm sure there's some folks out here who will agree with me, it's much less affordable. In fact, many people cannot afford to live in the state of Florida anymore because a pure market solution for the risk that exists in the state of Florida probably will not work. We developed this state. 17 million people live here. When I grew up here in the mid-'60s, we were talking about the Air Force Base, I grew up during the Vietnam War. There were a lot of people that were here at the Air Force Base. They're not there now because of Hurricane Andrew and those sorts of things. But a lot less people lived here in the 60s and 70s and 80s than live here now. So this insurance problem is, in my view, a math problem. And let me run a few numbers by you. I already mentioned the 8 storms that occurred in the 04 and the 05 hurricane seasons. The insured losses for those 8 storms, $39 billion. That's with a B. $39 billion in insured losses in the 04-05 hurricane season. 3 million claims. There are only, I say only, there are only 17 million people in the state of Florida. I'm a word mechanic. I'm a lawyer. I don't do math very well. But I do know that 17 million into 39 billion is a lot of money. And that's, in essence, what we would be asking every Floridian to pay if they had to offset these $39 billion in insured losses. It's impossible. It can't happen. The other number I'd run by you, 400,000 new residents to the state of Florida every year. 150,000 new homes. are built every year in the state of Florida. It will require more than $1 billion of new capital every year to be attracted to this state to insure those new homes and to keep this economy running. But there is no capital left. It is all gone. The 2004 hurricane season drained all of the capital that existed for all of the private insurers in the state of Florida. The 2005 hurricane season drained all of the capital that was infused by outside investors to be ready for the 2005 hurricane season. All of the capital that was in this Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund that I described for you, there was $6.2 billion in capital in the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund. It is all gone, and there is now a $1.25 billion deficit in the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund. Citizens, the property insurer of last resort, completely out of money, and you all probably have seen, some of you have gotten your latest insurance bill, there's an assessment on your insurance bill to offset the deficit for the Citizens Property Insurance Corporation. It is out of money. You may have noticed that the Poe Insurance Group out of the Tampa Bay area insured some 300,000 policyholders in the state of Florida. It is insolvent. All of those policyholders are now in Citizens, and since they're insolvent and someone has to pay the claims for those insureds, there's something called the Florida Insurance Guarantee Association. Guess what? It's out of money. So you see, there is no capital left to keep this economy rolling, and something has to be done. But you say, George, Allstate Insurance Company, I noticed, made a record profit last year and a record profit the year before that, and your stock is doing very well, and you look well dressed, and you must be well paid, and you're making a lot of money on that auto insurance, and you're hiding the money somewhere. Frankly, you're a nice man, but you're not telling the truth because you got two things going wrong. One, you're a lawyer, and number two, you work for an insurance company. It's good that your mother loves you. But remember the math. $39 billion in insured losses over a 2-year period. Now think about it. Think about a publicly traded insurance company like the Allstate Insurance Company. And I'm not here to defend the company, but I will. And I don't expect you to stand up and give me a round of applause when this is over and say, whatever this man says, let's do it. But I'm asking you, if you bought Allstate Insurance Company's stock and you knew that that company did business in all 50 states, well, almost. We don't do business in Massachusetts because you can't do business in Massachusetts because there's such oppressive government regulation that you cannot profitably write insurance in that state, in our opinion, and we haven't written there in years. So we're in most states, 49 states. Now, if you can write insurance business in 48 of the 49 states and expect a reasonable rate of return, except for the state of Florida, where you cannot expect a reasonable rate of return, why would you continue to invest money in the state of Florida? And if you were a stockholder, at some point, if you continue to send my investment dollars to the state of Florida, you might say, why do you continue to do that? And isn't there the potential of a derivative lawsuit against the man who runs the insurance company, the Allstate Insurance Company, who continues to send money to the state of Florida and have it invested in the homeowner insurance business? So, yes, we made money throughout the country, but we are regulated at the state level. There is no national insurance rate. There is a state of Florida insurance rate, there's a rate in Georgia, there's a rate in North Carolina, and every state. We are regulated at the state level, and we have to get our rates approved by the state regulator. And the state regulator is only interested in your loss experience in a particular state. There again, look at the $39 billion in losses. That's what you have to base your rate on. The man and woman who live in North Dakota, they don't want to pay more for their insurance so that we can live more affordably in the state of Florida. Just as we don't want to pay more for our insurance so that folks can live on an earthquake fault line in California. We don't think that's appropriate. So the fact that a particular insurer may be profitable nationwide, and then to ask that insurer to use those profits so that the rates can be supplemented in another state, I don't think is a reasonable alternative, and I personally do not believe that the regulator in South Dakota would approve a South Dakota rate so that we can live more affordably in the state of Florida. I'm not even sure it's legal. But we did hang in here after Hurricane Andrew, and we hung in here after the 04-05 hurricane season. So I won't go much longer other than to say a couple of things. As I said before, I don't know that a pure market solution will work for the state of Florida. There are those who say that if the insurance industry was completely deregulated, and that if the insurers were allowed to charge the rate that is commensurate with the risk that they're being asked to assume, that that is the answer, and that would drive much more capital to the marketplace. It certainly would. And there would be plenty of people in this state who could afford to pay the rate for their insurance that is commensurate with the wind exposure that exists in this state. But there are many, many other Floridians who could not afford that rate. So something has to be done to strike a balance. In our view, the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund's coverage should be expanded. It is a wonderful tool. This is the only state in the union that has it. And if we go back to my math problem, $39 billion in insured losses over 2 seasons. Do you think that that's going to happen again? Absolutely. God forbid it happens again this hurricane season. We seem to be lucky so far. But we continue to build in this state, and everybody likes to live on the water. And these storms will hit, and they appear to be more frequent, and they appear to be more severe. So it's not whether they'll hit, they will hit. And one thing I know is you cannot legislate how much damage will occur. The damage will be whatever it will be, and there has to be dollars available to pay those claims. So it seems to us that the best solution is to find the least expensive way or the most efficient way to gather dollars to pay hurricane claims. The most efficient way to do it is to invest that money in a tax-free vehicle without a profit motive associated with it. That's what the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund does. It is a vehicle that allows a portion of everyone's homeowner premium to go into the fund to grow absent taxation, and there is no profit associated with it since it is a state entity. We think that that's a very good idea and that it is the most consumer-friendly thing that can possibly be done. So it is our belief that we should expand that coverage, that more dollars should go into that fund each year rather than all of the money going to reinsurers. Reinsurers are insurance companies that do business offshore, Bermuda, London. You get the picture. When the hurricane season is over, all of the money that is paid to reinsurers stays in Bermuda and London, as contrasted with the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund. When the wind doesn't blow, the money stays in the state and continues to grow to the benefit of all Floridians. So that is our recommendation. That is our hope that somehow you will push your legislators in Tallahassee to expand the coverage in the Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund. Make those funds more available because that is the least expensive way to gather dollars to pay the inevitable hurricane claim. The other thing that needs to be done is we need a national catastrophe fund. Hurricane Katrina, if you looked at that and concluded that a national catastrophe fund was not necessary, I don't know what you were looking at. What we have now are helicopters that fly in. They throw blue tarps at the situation. They give people food and water and the things that they need in an emergency situation. That doesn't seem to be the way to do it. We think that there should be a national catastrophe fund that is pre-funded, that has actuarially sound rates, so that the federal government will step in to supplement what good state government is also doing. Because even an expanded Florida Hurricane Catastrophe Fund cannot gather enough money to pay for the claims that will exist in this state because we have so many people living here. And what a wonderful reason, because it's a great state. Very last thing. I read a resolution that Councilman Hodge gave me from the Miami Beach City Council, which urges that there be a special session. That in essence says that the legislature passed the bill at the end of the session last year that was a handout to the insurance industry. and urges that the state assume the first $100,000 in wind exposure. I don't know whether there's going to be a special session, but what I do know is that the bill, Senate Bill 1980, certainly was no handout to the insurers. But what it did do was a couple of good things. It encourages people to harden their homes. It encourages people to fortify their homes. It encourages people to mitigate their damages. Because if we have fewer losses, as I said earlier, then your insurance premiums will be less than they otherwise would be. That's a good thing. The other thing that Senate Bill 1980 did was it created this program that I hope some of you are taking advantage of. There's $250 million or $500 million available so that you can get a free inspection of your home to determine what can be done to make it stronger for a hurricane. And there's even matching money if you actually take the recommendations of the inspector. I have really nothing other than to say to you, I'm more than happy to answer whatever questions that you have. I do spend a great deal of time in Tallahassee. I'm pretty familiar with these issues. There is a task force that is in place right now that Governor Bush put into play that is working hard to try to arrive at some consensus so that there might be a special session to pass a bill. But even if that happens, it's not going to impact the 06 hurricane season. It would be something that could help us for the 07 hurricane season. I appreciate the opportunity, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor,
Item 5, Mr. Porter.
could I request that item C be moved up in the front? Tabitha from the Speedway is here, and she's pregnant, and she's standing up against the wall. And is that all right, sir?
That's fine. We'll move to 5C, Homestead Miami Speedway presentation, Blood and Bone Marrow Drive program.
Mayor, we just wanted to bring this to the attention of the community. This is a national event, but they've got all the facts and figures, so I'd like to have Tabitha speak to us.
Sure. Just want to thank the mayor and the city council for having us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tabitha Cullen. I work with Curtis Gray at the Speedway that we have down here. And I'm going to introduce Juan Corey and Doug Bartell from Florida's Blood Centers. We're doing a very large national blood drive on 9/11. And we're asking for everyone's support. The city has been gracious enough to support us, and we're hoping that we can do as much as we can for the local community. And I'll turn it over to them because they are the pros at this.
Thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen, members of the council. My name is Doug Bartell. I'm joined by my distinguished colleague, Juan Corey. We are with Florida's Blood Centers. For those of you who are not aware, Florida's Blood Centers is the state's largest and oldest blood center, and we are very privileged and proud to be here tonight and to be working with the Homestead Miami Speedway on literally a life-changing event. I don't think I need to go into too much detail about September 11th. For those of you who don't know, the 5-year anniversary is coming up this year. There is a national program that started 5 years ago by the Michigan International Speedway, originally titled Drive for Life. It is now called the Spirit of America Blood Drive. And to give you an indication, last year was the largest single-day blood drive in the entire country, where they collected close to 1,000 units of blood. I won't bore you with all the details about blood collection, but let me just tell you, if you or you or you were to donate blood tomorrow, your single donation could save 3 lives. So last year alone, on September 11th of 2005, those thousands or so blood donors were able to save 3,000 lives. This is the inaugural year that we are bringing this program to the Homestead Miami Speedway, and we are so excited. This is not just a partnership between Florida's Blood Centers and the Speedway. It really is a community partnership. We are reaching out to the people of Homestead, to the gracious people here in the city, to area businesses, and we are planning an event. We're laying the groundwork for the future, but we have big hopes for this year's blood drive to collect hundreds of units of blood on that one day. We are making an event, a true NASCAR event, where people will be excited to come down there to give their time and to give their blood. And in addition, we are working with the folks in the National Bone Marrow Program. And we will be doing a simple program with our specialists who will take swabs from the inside of people's cheeks. And people will be able to register in the National Bone Marrow Program to find a match somewhere in the country for a child or a person in need. Like I said, this is the inaugural year of this national program coming to Homestead. It is taking place this year at 11 tracks around the country. It is truly going to be an amazing event. Homestead, I do not have to tell you, is a community that cares about its people. And this is really a unique opportunity for people to come and not give their money, give a little bit of their time, and give a little bit of themselves to save someone else in the community. Like I said, Florida's Blood Centers supplies hospitals in this state, 70 hospitals with more than 300,000 units of blood each and every day. I ask yourself, do you know someone who's had cancer, a premature baby, someone who's had open heart disease, or been in a car accident on one of our crazy roads around here? Those are the people who need blood each and every day. I just want to give you a couple of facts and figures. Your odds of dying in a car accident are 1 in 83. Your odds of dying in a plane crash, 1 in 5,000. 1 in 5 people who goes to the hospital will need a blood transfusion. That is why this event is so important. Again, it is going to take place on September 11th at the Speedway. It is going to last for 9 hours and 11 minutes. It just so happens that week the City of Homestead was planning its blood drive. Thanks to your generosity and your support, we're shifting that city blood drive to the Speedway. We are encouraging area businesses to let their employees come in 45 minutes late that day, come on over on their lunch hour, donate blood. We're going to have incredible incentives for people. We realize to ask you to give an hour of your time, which is about how long it takes, is asking a lot for some people. We're shifting the hours of this event for 9 hours and 11 minutes from 11 o'clock till just after 8 o'clock p.m. so that people can come after work. So if you're a business person, maybe let someone go at 4 o'clock that day, or if they take an hour and 10 minutes for lunch that day, let them come over and donate blood. In your school, maybe a student, maybe a teacher could give extra credit to their student. We're working with the firefighters, the police, to make a difference in this community. This is a program endorsed by the American Red Cross. For those of you who aren't familiar, the American Red Cross does not collect blood in South Florida or in Florida. We're the state's largest and oldest blood center. We're the ones that are going to be here with you for this event and for many years to come. I don't know whether you know, but more than 36,000 units of blood were collected in the days after the original 9/11 attacks. Florida's Blood Centers was one of the first to get blood up to the people of New York City, and thousands of those units of blood came from the state of Florida, hundreds from this community. This community has shown it will come through for its neighbors in need during Andrew. It came through for the people of the Gulf region during Katrina. You guys have come through after Wilma, and I know you will come through once again. It is going to be a fantastic day. Prizes, incentives, music, food. Everyone's going to get lunch, their t-shirt, Walmart gift cards, prizes. We're getting fantastic response from area businesses who are donating lunches and dinners. So I ask the individual people to mark their calendars on 9/11 to come out between 11 a.m. and 8:11 p.m. I'm asking the city to please join us, and I say thank you for moving your blood drive that day, for spreading the word when you go around, for telling your firefighters and your policemen and your police officers about this event. And I really think that we are laying the groundwork for something very, very special. The people in Michigan and in NASCAR had no idea when they started this little idea 5 years ago that it would grow into the largest single blood drive in the country on any one given day. And it is my hope as I stand here before you that in a year or two it will be us that will be making news around the country when we say that Homestead, Miami Speedway, Florida's Blood Centers, and this wonderful community are doing just the same, the largest blood drive in the country. So I thank you. Juan, do you have any other additional details?
Yeah, good evening. I just wanted to add to everything that Doug said, that you truly are exemplifying your role as leaders of this community. So on behalf of the Board of Directors and the staff and the community that you're serving, thank you for participating and most importantly supporting this blood drive. So thank you very much and hope to see you all there. Thank you. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. last thing is, we will be through distributing flyers and posters that we have that we'll leave with you, and I understand that they will be handed out to each and every employee of the city. We really thank you for that, and again, thank you for your support and commitment to this great cause. Thanks
Thank you,
again.
gentlemen. Thank you very much. All right, are you ready for 2, Jeff, or 5B?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Chief, you want to come to the podium? In conversations with the chief, there's been a lot of new hires over the last few years. When you talk about a number 5 or a number 7 or a number 9, you don't really get the full effect of actually being able to meet and see the officers. So the chief wanted to bring the new officers in and let them be seen by the community. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Councilman Porter, and good evening to everybody in the audience, and also the mayor, council, city manager, and also the viewing audience. As Councilman Porter said, that what we wanted to do, because a lot of people really don't follow the employment of the city, we wanted to share with everyone and show everyone that in the last 3 years, we've had to turn over a lot of police officers, but also we had 17 to 21, I believe, hired. And based on the growth in the city, not just on the east side, the west side, in our position, we have to maintain the public safety of the entire city. So we just can't say, well, we hired them just for one side of the city. That's not correct. We hired them for the entire city of Homestead. And what I wanted to do tonight, I wanted to basically just show you the individuals that we hired. And I also wanted to let people know that how much we appreciate what the mayor and council has done for the police department and also for the city of Homestead. And I also wanted to say thanks to the city manager, because without him all this wouldn't be possible. Tonight, in our opinion, is a special night. We have nothing to hide, but we want to show the city of Homestead that we're definitely going to take care of you, and that's what it's all about as we go into this year. So, with that being said, I'm going to let Major Kennedy basically give you the names of all the officers and have them walk in. We'll try to do it real quick because we kind of running behind time, but I think it's so important to the community and also for the mayor and council to see what we've done in the last 3 years. It's such a important idea for us. Thank you.
Jennifer Acevedo, Eddie Blackman, Eileen Calvo, Howard Diener, Philip Harris, John Holmes, Louis Hosh, Ken Hubbard, Ken Hurtado, Justin Meese, Robert Morris, Alex Merguido, Jose Murillo, Aaron Pierce, Pete Perez, Eric Reyes, George Reyes, Louis Robeson, Eric Rodriguez, Yanko Rodriguez, Jeremy Smith, James Sendry, Antonio Tanner, Tony Trad, Jesus Velasquez, Dwayne Whipple, Louis Zavaleta. Also, who could not be present tonight is Alyssa Bornes, Ken Jackson, James Kavanaugh, Veronica Blanco, Eddie Rojo, Robbie Tate, Garland Wright, Juan Sanabri, David Mata, and Joe Garcia.
So here, ladies and gentlemen, these are the officers that were hired in the last 3 years. Just let you know, these men and women are special. They were handpicked by myself and my staff, so believe it, they're going to do a good job, and we expect them to. Am I correct? Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you all, and I appreciate it very much. Thanks a lot. Well, it's nice to know all of them name, right? That's good. That's why I like a small department, because I can call them all by first name basis, and I know everybody. Anyway, thank you all very much.
Let me share with the community that Councilman Porter chairs our Public Safety Committee, and I think over the past 2 years, because of his persistency, that we do whatever we can to make sure that with the increase in population, that we match that with additional officers on the street. And I want to thank Mr. Porter for his persistency and encouragement to this council that we put in the budget the funds to hire those new police officers. So thank you, Mr. Porter.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
For your leadership.
Let me just say this, with great respect that I say that the council fully supports what the police department does, because it is a team effort and I gotta commend the chief, because when we were questioning what we were doing, I went to him straight up and I said, Chief, you gotta tell us what you need, because if you can't get your job done, we're gonna get mad at you, because if you don't have enough players, you need to tell us exactly what you need. So the chief was very forthright, came forward. We had to make some adjustments mid-year. It was tough, but the council stepped up to the plate and did it, and I think it's a remarkable job the police department has been able to keep up, and they do have an overwhelming job out there. I see the statistics that they are addressing, and that's they are to be commended, and I'm glad that the chief lets these guys get up and be seen by the community and recognized by the community, because I saw a couple of them that I thought were going to pull me over one day. Now I know they're new guys, but no, it's really a nice gesture that we do honor the police department. So I thank you, Mayor, for your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Thank you, Chief. Mr. Manager. Thank you. Item 5D is the Office of the Month for June 2006. Officer Jose Murillo. Councilman Porter.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, City Council, Mr. City Manager. Of course, you know we have the Chief and the Major here, Councilman Porter, our Public Safety Chairman. I think it's pretty fitting that Officer Murillo was just up on this stage. He's been in our department less than 2 years, and this is his second Officer of the Month already. He received it in December, and I'll tell you, I would say almost every month he gets nominated. And you're looking at 6 to 7 nominations of officers in the department, and what he does is exceptional for just actually being off probation, which is a 1-year probationary period. If I could, he was the Officer of the Month for June 2006. I'll go over some of his cases with you just real quick. On one case, he observed a juvenile sitting on the ground. He saw some signs of injury. He had to talk to the child, and he found out the child had actually been beaten by a guardian, and he made an arrest on that situation. Another case that he handled, or that he actually found himself, he decided to conduct a surveillance in the 100 block of Northwest 5th Avenue. He knows it's a drug-active area, and he watched 2 individuals do a drug transaction. They both fled from him. The guy he caught had the drugs on him, so he made an arrest for possession of crack cocaine and drug paraphernalia on that. And again, self-initiated activity, and that's what we want from our officers. On another case, he was flagged down by a woman who said there was an individual bleeding from the head. He found out the guy got hit with a bottle on his own. He went out and found the perpetrator on that. Again, he does this on his own. These aren't calls that he's being dispatched to, which is very impressive for a young officer. For the month, he had 17 arrests. The majority of those were self-initiated. I'd like to quote what his sergeant wrote in the letter. Officer Murillo consistently is among the top officers on the day shift as far as productivity is concerned. And you have officers with seniority well over 20 years on that shift. So I think it's very fitting that he's our Officer of the Month for June 2006.
First, I'd like to say that it's very appropriate that we're able to give a little back to the officers for what they do above and beyond the call. I mean, he could just ride around and never never initiate anything and just write a few traffic tickets. But what we try to do with this program is really, this is the officers themselves telling us who their best officer is in that particular month. And we've asked the business community to support us with giving a little bit back, and I have a list of names that have been that have offered things back to the officers, and would encourage any business or any private person that would like to help just give a little back to please call a city, either the manager's office or Patty Sullivan, and help us, because I think we're doing the right thing here. But this officer will receive, for his Officer of the Month, the plaque which y'all giving from Awards Inc., the City Attorney's Office, thank you Richard, is a $100 check. First National Bank of South Florida is a $50 savings bond. Community Bank of South Florida is a $50 savings bond. Tony's Seven Grill is a free meal of choice. I think it's going to need to be 4. Ferguson's Jewelry is a $75 gift certificate. Ruby Tuesdays is a $25 gift certificate. Global Technologies Partners Inc. is a $50 check. Logos on Old Dixie Highway is a $50 gift certificate. Carl Pelt & Son Goodyear Tire is a $25 value oil change. Dale Blake from Blake Chevrolet is a $300 value oil change detailing tire rotation. Captain Car Wash is a free car wash valued at $20. Mita Jensen has given us 2 memberships to the Homestead Community Concerts, and that is your award. And also here's the plaque which reads, presented to Officer Jose Murillo for being selected Officer of the Month for November FOPA, June 2006. Thank you, sir.
This is something that we want to say about Officer Murillo that a lot of people don't know about it. And I'm quite sure he won't mention this, but I'm going to say it anyway. First of all, he put himself to the police academy. He got to the point where he was about to graduate. The academy called us and said, hey, you have a guy from Homestead that's in the police academy. He's one of the finest young men we met in a long time. You guys need to pick him up. Well, when he mentioned that to Major Kennedy told me about it, and immediately we snatched him up for the reserve program. But that's just half of it. When this guy was hired about a year ago, before that, he was going through some medical problems where he had to have open heart surgery. And at the same time, his wife was pregnant with his youngest child. And to Homestead, like somebody spoke earlier, we do care about people. Even though that happened, he was able to bounce back. We hired him. And as you can see, for this first year, he's been here probably twice already as Officer of the Month. Another Homestead guy we handpicked. And like I told you, when you get someone that really care about the community, not only do you succeed, through a medical situation, you succeed in your career as well. So I just want to share that with you all, because to me, and I'm quite sure everybody in this audience and also the council, that's so important to have a young man that went through all those trials and tribulations and standing here today receiving an award, being Officer of the Month for the 2nd time. That's outstanding. Officer Murillo, you're the kind of employee that not only for the police department, for the city of Homestead, he's a fine example of what hard work and dedication is all about. And also, he has a tenacity to make all of us look good based on what he does every day. And we want to thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank everybody for the support, my wife and my family, and then all the other officers that helped me learn what I know today. Thanks everybody for the opportunity you gave me. Thank you.
If I could say something, come here. Officer Murillo and I we bonded last year. We were teamed up and partnered together with the ice distribution after it was Hurricane Wilma, and he and I shared some medical stories, and when he told me what he had been through, I just couldn't believe the accomplishments. and he's a wonderful young man. We got to know each other very, very well. If I heard him say ice, 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 ice one more time. But we had such a good time together, and he stayed and went beyond the call of duty and came out and helped when he didn't have to. He stayed overtime and did everything, and I just want to thank you so much for being my friend.
Thank you.
And just before you leave, you're a good officer and everything, but this goes to her. Because without her, this wouldn't have happened. So we thank you, and also the kids. Appreciate it very much. Okay? Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
It's cute. That's cute.
Mr. Ivy, Certificate of Appreciation from United States Air Force Reserves.
If I could, at this time, I'd ask the mayor if he would come down representing the mayor and council. One of the things that we've done for years at the city, the mayor and council have approved this, is a support of our military. And for our men and women who are volunteer soldiers, part-time soldiers in the reserves, the National Guard. However, many of them found themselves full-time soldiers over the last few years on several conflicts. But yet, the mayor and council have chosen to maintain their jobs so that they know that when they get back off of active duty, that their job is secure and they can come back and assimilate back into civilian life. I think that at this point, we've done this for a number of years, but Alvaro Marino from our electric utilities came back from a tour as a reservist and brought back a certificate of appreciation from the United States Air Force. And it dawned on me that we've been doing this for some time, and I think that we wanted to publicly show the community the support that the city officials give to our men and women in uniform that are protecting us every day, and it's particularly important now because of the events that are going on and what we're involved in. But Marino brought back a certificate of appreciation, and I want to give this to the mayor and say a few words as a reservist, active duty reservist, retired now, so I don't have to go anywhere. Too old anyway, wouldn't help. But the recognition and saying how important it is to the men and women that do serve to know that their jobs are secure and that they have support back home. And this is a certificate of appreciation to the city of Homestead, Florida, in recognition of valuable support for this troop in particular during his tour of duty. And I'd like to give it to the mayor, if I might, and I'll take it back also.
Just let me say that most of us pay very close attention to what's going on, especially in the Middle East and all over the world. And when I read every week that we're losing roughly about 15 young men and women in Iraq and Afghanistan as they fight day in and day out for our freedom, this is a prime example of what we should all do each and every day. Not only pray for them that is protecting us each and every day, but reward them whenever we can. And that's why I think we came up with the idea several years ago, when they go off to fight, let's secure their jobs so when they come back in the city of Homestead, they don't have to worry about not having a job here. But it's secured and it's available. So thank you, Kurt, and thanks to the young man that brought back that appreciation to the council. Thank you. All right, presentation of membership certificates to the Mayor's Youth Council. New members, Councilman Garn and Hodge.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to introduce 4 new members to our Mayor's Youth Council tonight. We have Stephanie Moya. Stephanie's an 11th grader at Homestead Senior High, and she wants to serve on the Mayor's Youth Council because she will be a great asset to our organization, and she's interested in serving the community and being part of the issues that will affect it. Welcome, Stephanie. We have Cameron Davis. Is Cameron here tonight? We'll bring him next time so you guys can meet him. We have Shameen Mathern. And ladies, if I butcher your name, please let me know. Shameen? Shameen. Shameen is 11th grade at Homestead Senior High, and she wants to disprove the theory that teens are not involved in our communities, and she's going to voice her opinion. Welcome, Shameen. We also have Esther Mathern. She's a 12th grader at Homestead Senior High, and she also wants to serve the community and have an opportunity to get involved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Garner and Councilman Hodge. The next is the presentation of Safety Award winners for the month of August. Councilwoman Wallman.
Okay, it's the time of the month again when our Safety Award winners are to be announced. They must be a full-time employee of the City of Homestead. They must be free of accidents and injuries for the preceding 6 consecutive months and must not have received workman's compensation benefits for the preceding 6 consecutive months. They will win today a certificate, best thing, a paid day off, a safety badge. Excuse me. Their names will be posted in recognition in the main lobby of City Hall, and a $25 check from our city attorneys. Thank you, Richard. I don't think I always do that, but thank you so much. So now we have our winners. The first one is Ralph Mizell. He's with Parks and Recs. Stay up here for a second. The second one is John Cook, Stormwater Division of Public Works and Services. Congratulations. The next one is William Owens, Wastewater Division of Public Works and Services. And then we have the employees for the month of July that are here tonight, and they are Joe Shelton. Is it Joe Skelton? Sorry. He's not here. And Miguel. Is Miguel here? Miguel. Miguel Lamaras. Did I say that right? Did I say that right? Yes. Wow. I can't do that. Well, congratulations. Congratulations to all of you. I have one more? One more. Oh, I do have one more. Tom Butler with Wastewater Division of Public Works. I saw Tom sitting there, and I thought he was just here. So that concludes, again, our Safety Award winners. Thank you so much.
On September the 5th, we have the primary elections in Miami-Dade County, and we have some candidates for judgeship in the audience. And if they're present, I'd like for them to come forward and just introduce themselves. Circuit Court Judge candidate Valerie Armano Schur, group number 78.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. I'd like to first thank the Commission, the Mayor, and Mr. Ivey for allowing me here today and to let me speak. Like the Mayor said, there is a primary election on September 5th, and in fact, there is early voting going on right now. If you want to go out and vote for the next 2 weeks, there's some specific voting sites that you can go to, and I looked it up before I came. And there's a voting site at Florida City, at the City Hall, at 404 West Palm Drive. They're open right now this week, 7 to 3 p.m. On the weekends, 9 to 1 on Saturday and 11 to 3 on Sunday. And next week, they'll be open from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. So if you want to avoid the rush of September 5th, you can go and you can vote now. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I know it's hard to vote for the judges because we can't really tell you, we don't have a platform, but let me just tell you a little bit about myself, both personally and professionally. I was born right here in Dade County, and I've lived here for 48 years. I went to public schools here and attended local colleges. I went to Miami-Dade Community College, the University of Miami School of Nursing, and the University of Miami School of Law. I started my career not as a lawyer, but as a registered nurse, and I served this community for 14 years as a registered nurse before going back to school. I attended the University of Miami Law School at night and worked as a registered nurse during the day, and I finished in 1992. I've been practicing law since then. I have a law firm in Coral Gables. I've been at the same location for about 11 years. I practice primarily in the area of civil litigation, and I help people who have problems with their insurance companies. Unlike the other gentleman that was here. Most of my clients come in, they've had problems with insurance companies, and I help them solve those problems, whether it's filing suit or just trying to work something out, but basically that's what I do. And I'm very busy. I want to serve this community. I'm 48 years old. I have the maturity, I have the experience, I have the compassion. I was a registered nurse, like I said, for 14 years, but I do have the legal knowledge and a strong legal base to be a judge. It's my lifelong dream to be a judge. And if I'm elected, I promise I will do a good job, I will work hard, and I will make Miami-Dade County an even better, greater place to live for all of us. I hope that the people of Dade County, of Homestead, will help me and will get out and vote on punch number or touch number 80. This year it's touch number 80. So I'm in group 78. My name is Valerie Mano Schur, and I'm punch number 80. That's all you have to, you don't even have to remember my name, just 80. And once again, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight, and thank you very much.
County Court Judge candidate Stephen T. Millen, group number 11.
I'd like to thank the mayor, the vice mayor, city manager Ivey, and the council. I'm running in County Court Group 11. My touch number is 104. City Manager Ivey and I go way back from my days as a prosecutor in this county and his days as a police officer. I came down here, I went to college and law school in Boston. I grew up in New York. And I came down here in 1990 after starting in Janet Reno's office and working until the summer of 1997 as a prosecutor. I've handled cases in state and federal court as a prosecutor, and then I've been in private practice for the last 10 years in my own business in South Dade, representing immigrants, criminal defense, doing criminal defense and bankruptcy cases. Although the judges cannot talk about issues per se, it's really not about the issues, it's about character. Because that's really what you're voting for. You're voting for a representative of those laws that we all share. That's the one thing that binds each one of us in this country. Other places it's religion, but here the religion of our county and the religion of our state is the laws that we share. That's the hopes and dreams of each one of us, and that's what this council does when they pass the laws that they do. Now, I am running to that end because I believe that judges have a moral podium in order to inspire people. They have a moral podium to bring people together in ways that other people are unable to do. And I'd cite to you the examples of what Judge Rosnick has been able to do with drug court and making that a national model, what Judge Leifman's been able to accomplish for the mental health program and making that a national model. And for many of you that know, those were two areas of the law that were long neglected and two areas of the law that had long been bandied about in the public debate. And they were able to get it done using that moral podium. But my experience is working with children and working with the youth in our community. As a lawyer, I've worked as a guardian ad litem, protecting battered and abused children. I've been honored for that with the John Edward Smith Award. I volunteered my time through the Put Something Back program, working in cases of bankruptcy and probate. I work as a Kiwanian in the Biscayne Bay Kiwanis Club. I've set up mentoring programs where each of the Kiwanis clubs pair up with a Dade County school in order to mentor to the children, in order to work with the children on their literacy skills. Our home club paired up with Santa Clara Elementary School, which is 10 blocks from the courthouse downtown. And I'm happy to say that as a result of our work, as well as the hard work of the teachers, we were able to have that school be raised from a D to a B. That's what we've been able to accomplish. In the mentoring level, we've been able to take the children outside of their local area that they grow up in and expose them to the larger possibilities that this county and this state have to offer, to broaden their horizons. In addition, I've worked on the board of directors of the Knights of Columbus, the Alapata YMCA, setting up similar programs and similar partnerships with them, as well as an Eagle Scout. So now you can say at least there's one on the bench and you've met one that's running. I have, for those of you who don't know, or have not seen any campaign literature, I have 5 boys, all under the age of 9, 8, 6, 4, and 2. So I'll be doing scouting for a very long time. My wife's a Dade County school teacher. Public service is what we do. In addition, I'm very involved in my church, St. Timothy's, as an Emmaus brother, and in the men's club. That's what I think a judge can accomplish. That's what I hope to do as a judge. It is ensuring the fairness of the rule of law when someone comes before them. And let's face it, in the county court, and I chose that way specifically because the majority of people who come in county court are unrepresented individuals. Even more so, the importance that for a judge to be a judge of the community, that they be involved in the community that they serve. The view of the person who comes in front of a judge cannot just be as they appear in front of the judge on the bench, and the sensitivity of and the ability of the judge to be sensitive to those who come in front of them cannot just be gauged on the appearance of a person in front of them. It has to be gained by being involved with the people and the community at large outside the courthouse. And that's what I'm talking about. And that's what I hope to do as your county court judge. And I'd like to end with this. Judge Raul Cantero told me once that lawyers consider ethics to be their minimum standard. And professionalism is always, that's an aspirational goal that we should look to, but many lawyers don't consider it a requirement. And he told me that as a lawyer, and especially as a judge, the two are one. As a judge, you're charged with being that light and providing that example, which raises the bar for everyone. And that's exactly what I hope to do as your judge. Thank you.
Thank you. County Court Judge candidate Brownwyn Catherine Miller.
Brownwyn
Catherine Miller.
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the Council, and ladies and gentlemen of Homestead. My name is Christina Miranda, and I'm here to represent Judge Brownwyn Catherine Miller. Unfortunately, Judge Miller was tied up being honored in North Miami, and because of the time constraints was not able to make the drive down here to be here with you tonight. But she wanted me to inform you that she is running for re-election as a county court judge. She has been working in this community and for the people of Homestead and Miami-Dade County for a number of years, approximately 14. She was an assistant state attorney in the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office for about 8 years. She was a student at the University of Miami School of Law. Judge Miller has presently been a member of the county court bench because she was appointed by Governor Jeb Bush approximately a year and a half ago. She serves the community of Homestead here in the Cutler Ridge South Dade Government Center in Cutler Bay. She presides over small claims cases, county court civil cases, and over domestic violence. She has been endorsed by the League of Prosecutors, the Wilkie D. Ferguson Bar Association, the Police Benevolent Association, the Hispanic Police Officer Association, the Latin Builders Association, and Save Dade. She has served as an adjunct professor and a guest lecturer at Florida International University, as well as assisted in moot court competitions at the University of Miami and St. Thomas University's Schools of Law. Judge Miller protected this community as a prosecutor and hopes to continue doing that for the people of Homestead and the people of Dade County. She is punch number or touch number 116, and her name is Judge Brownwyn Catherine Miller. She hopes to continue serving this community, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you. County Court Judge candidate Gloria Gonzalez-Meyer, group number 14.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to meet all of you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for the time. My name is Gloria Gonzalez-Meyer, and I am running for County Court Judge in Group 14. My punch number is 109. And just to let you know a little bit about myself, I have been a lawyer for 12 years. I began my legal career as an assistant state attorney, and while I was there, I worked in the misdemeanor, the juvenile, and the felony division. And I am testament to the fact that sometimes you find more than just justice at the courthouse, sometimes you find love. I met my husband, who's a police officer with Metro-Dade, when I was a prosecutor working on cases, and now he's a lieutenant with Metro-Dade, and we have a beautiful family and a lovely daughter. And it was wonderful to see so many of the Homestead police officers that I prosecuted cases with. Major Kennedy, wow, now he's a major. I was so excited. It was wonderful to see him in like a blast from the past. I loved my time as an assistant state attorney serving the public, but unfortunately, we all have to pay off our student loans. So I went into private practice. I've been a civil trial attorney for 9 years, and during my time as a lawyer, I have tried more than 50 jury trials to a verdict, and that includes both civil and criminal. I also believe it's very important to be involved in the community. I am currently representing a church on a pro bono basis and have done pro bono work in the past. I also this year served with the Cuban American Bar Association's mentoring program and also had the very wonderful time of working with the Dade County Bar. They had a fabulous program this year where we had high school students that had mock trials, and these kids were so smart. I think they were smarter than me. It was so wonderful, and you get so much by giving. You get so much back. And I've also served as a guest lecturer at the University of Miami. So I hope that all of the Dade County voters, especially all of the people in Homestead, please take a chance and look at my credentials and please review them. And you'll see that I have a lot of trial experience. I'm a very fair-minded person, and I only hope the best for our community and, of course, for Homestead as well. And thank you very much for this opportunity. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
And last but not least, Mr. Ron Saunders is running for District 120, House of Representatives.
He's really running.
Mr. Mayor, Council, appreciate this opportunity. As many of you know, I'm running for House District 120, which is my former seat. It goes from Key West to West Kendall, so it's quite a district. I held it for 8 years. The last 8 years have been held by Ken Sorensen from Key Largo, and he's term limited, so it's an open seat. I have the good fortune not to have a primary opposition, so I won't be in the ballot in November. But I did want to speak because the main reason I'm running is windstorm insurance. The out-of-control rates are basically threatening our economic future, and it's a real serious threat that I think we need to address. I was very interested to hear the gentleman from Allstate, Mr. Graw, at the invitation of Councilman Hodge, and I think he had some good solutions. I think there are some problems at the state level, and I would support the things he talked about. I served in this seat and represented part of Homestead during Hurricane Andrew. And so many of the things he talked about I actually sponsored and helped pass. And one thing he did mention, for example, is the Hurricane Andrew Trust Fund, which I think went a long way to rebuilding this area. And I think we need to look at having a dedicated trust fund once again so the money that's generated after a hurricane doesn't go somewhere else in the rest of the state of Florida. It remains in the area that's impacted. But one thing he didn't mention was something I want to talk about real briefly, and that's citizens' property insurance. I've described it publicly in Monroe County as a greedy vampire sucking the lifeblood out of our economy. And I don't say that very lightly, but I attended hearings in Monroe County. As you know, Monroe County is treated differently. And they had a hearing down there where citizens came in and originally asked for a 20% increase. The insurance commissioner denied it, said it was excessive. So they came back with a 25% increase, which mathematically doesn't make much sense. And I attended the hearing, and the insurance commissioner just issued a ruling which I think is very interesting. Not only did he deny the 25% increase, he ordered a rollback because citizens could not justify that increase. And they have a couple greedy little cousins called Florida Peninsula and HomeWise that I know Councilwoman Waldman has. And what they're doing is they're coming along behind citizens and cherry-picking the policies, and they're raising their rates because citizens have set such a high level that they can make money by gouging us. I think citizens is a major problem. I think it's going to be a serious threat to our economy. In the next few months, we're going to be learning more. I think as the citizens learn more about what we went through in Monroe County, you're going to be going through it in Homestead to a greater degree than you have in the past. It's it's probably the most serious threat we've ever faced, more serious than Hurricane Andrew. Because if you don't get control over it, the real estate market will collapse, the banks will have problems, all of us will have problems living down here because you cannot keep something that's out of control. You know, between that and property taxes and all the other expenses we have down here, if you don't put a control over insurance rates, we're not going to be able to afford to live down here. It's the number one issue. There's not a more important issue I think any legislator or candidate for the legislature should be talking about. And so we have to address that issue. My name is Ron Saunders, and I look forward to working with you, hopefully again as your legislator, and thank you again for this opportunity.
We're now on the consent agenda. Is there a motion for approval? Moved by Councilwoman Bell. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Wallman. Any questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Public hearing ordinance land use item, Mr. Attorney.
Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to be either cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda. The clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Tab 15, Item A, is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a waiver of plat to Pedro Montoya for the division of property totaling approximately .34 acres into 4 parcels located on the east side of Northwest 1st Avenue between Campbell Drive and Northwest 9th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Is there a motion for approval?
Offer motion, Mayor.
Moved by Councilman Hodge. Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Porter. Question, Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Direct this to staff. In light of the future land use map designation being in conflict somewhat with the current zoning, and in light of the moratorium, how do you reconcile the recommendation for approval? I mean, clearly the discussion here in the summary talks about townhouse development when, number one, we've got a moratorium in place that probably precludes that, and number two, the professional mixed use master plan overlay is intended to foster the development of office space and as for new construction and the conversion of some of the existing.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Martin Schneider with the Eiler Planning Group. We're the city's planning consultant. One thing, the PMU does allow the residential uses to continue in that area, so it would allow townhouses or the appropriate single or apartments to continue. Another thing about this site plan came in a long time before the moratorium, and the site plan has basically been approved administratively by staff a while ago, and now this is just the waiver of plat to allow it to happen. The waiver of plat basically will allow townhouses to occur instead of going for condominiums or apartment buildings. So that's why staff is for the project to allow. It allows 2 lots to be split so that they're both single fee simple lots instead of having to join the lot together to create a larger lot to allow apartments or condominiums. And they also worked with staff to move the building to the front, to the road, and then to use the alley to access garages in the back. And they've given up 5-foot right away along the alley to make that a big enough driveway to allow vehicles to go into and park behind the buildings.
So then what you're telling me is this application has probably been in the pipeline for nearly a year.
I think it's been more than a year.
Okay. But would it be accurate to say that if this had been filed, accepted for filing after that date,
right,
would not be having this discussion?
It would not be moving forward, right.
I'm wondering from just a planning perspective, recognizing that professional mixed use allows for both of those types of uses, it would seem to me
that this is on the side of the corridor that lies between First Avenue and Chrome Avenue, it would most appropriately be the business overflow from the Chrome Avenue corridor, and certainly we would tend to probably, steer things more toward, new construction of professional office or conversion, rather than promoting residential surrounded by, or potentially surrounded by, professional or commercial use in the future.
Right, in theory that would probably be true. I believe that this area is surrounded in all directions by R3 zoning. So it's basically all residential right now. It is also the PMU, which would allow either the residential use or the conversion to an office use.
So, and last question, if the waiver of plat were not granted, they would still, as the applicant, as a matter of right, could come in and build condos or apartments. Is that correct?
They would still have to go through some other loops, but they could go that direction instead, yes.
It would almost be non-discretionary. I mean, they would have to meet certain criteria, but, subject to those issues, they would have the absolute right to do that if this weren't granted.
Correct.
So once again, we're pretty much boxed in unless we want condos or apartments on this site if they're not willing to do professional office.
That's one way of looking at it.
Okay, that gets to the point that I guess this is the lesser of the possible evils.
And like we said, this started probably a year and a half or so ago, and if we were to look at it today, we might look at it a little differently, but it had started a long time ago, and the site plan had been adjusted to meet some city concerns, trying to do the new urban look of bringing the building closer to the front setback and parking behind in the garage.
And what they've agreed to institutes our current thinking on the urban design. Thank you all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Ms. Bell?
Thank you. Yeah, and I had echoed my thoughts had echoed some of the same comments of the Vice Mayor, but in the reading I did realize that this is currently zoned multiple apartment districts. So, and once again, I'm seeing, and I have to support when I'm seeing somebody who's actually giving us more than they have to, that the lot size is larger than it needs to be in order to have this type of a division. And not only is the lot size larger than it has to be, but whenever I see somebody working within the guidelines, in the recommended guidelines of the urban design guidelines, with the garages in the back and with the alleyways in the back, I'm inclined to support that. I think it is just so much more attractive, especially with the pushing up of the homes towards the street if you're going to have the alleyways in the back and everything. So I do support this. I also agree, though, with the comments that this, to me, would tend to lean a little bit more towards professional business use because of the site, but I also know that what is proposed will work. So I support it. Thank you.
Any other comments from council? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Garner? Yes. Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losman?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
That concludes your quasi-judicial section of your agenda. Moving on to number 8, the legislative matters. You have no resolutions, but moving on to B, ordinances. Tab 16, 8C is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a small-scale amendment to the comprehensive plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately 5-acre site from Planned Regional Activity Center, PRAC, use to industrial use, IU, located at the southwest corner of Southwest 147th Avenue and Southwest 328th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. And this is first reading.
So moved, Mayor.
Second. Moved by Councilwoman Garner, second by Councilman Porter. Any comments from council?
Just a question, Mayor.
Mr. Porter?
It's in here, it says the Scribner's error, right? Mm-hmm. So we've got a series of issues that are...
Yes.
there was an issue with the outline of the DRI through the years. Somehow it absorbed some land that it shouldn't have. So it was like a stepping of the property lines, and somehow something got included that should not have been. Nothing can be part of the PRAC, the Planned Regional Activity Center, unless it's part of the DRI. Therefore, this could not be under that category, and it has to be under some category, so we're going back to the category it was under before it was annexed into the city.
And so this is just basically correcting a mistake in the past?
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
I'm sorry, if I might just add to that, and that would be the case for all of these proposed small-scale amendments that are going from PRAC to another designation. And we had tried not to take this route and tried to work with DCA to get their buy-in that it would just be a Scrivener's error and we could just correct it on our maps, but they wouldn't let us do it. So we're having to go through the small-scale amendment process to make those modifications.
Thank you, sir. This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
8D is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a small-scale amendment to the comprehensive plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately 5-acre site from Planned Regional Activity Center PRAC use to industrial use IU, located west of the southwest corner of Southwest 147th Avenue and Southwest 328th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any comments from council? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
8E is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a small-scale amendment to the comprehensive plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately 5-acre site from Planned Regional Activity Center, PRAC use, to industrial use located west of southwest corner of Southwest 147th Avenue and Southwest 328th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Motion by Councilman Hodge, second by Councilwoman Bell. Comments from council? If not, is this a public hearing? Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Final comments from council. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner? Yes. Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
8F is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a small-scale amendment to the comprehensive plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately 5-acre site from Planned Regional Activity Center to industrial use located west of the southwest corner of Southwest 147th Avenue and Southwest 328th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Comments from council? If not, public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
8G is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a small-scale amendment to the comp plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately 3-acre site from Planned Regional Activity Center PRAC use to light commercial use LCU, located at 1820 North Canal Drive on the southeast corner of Southwest 328th Street, just North Canal Drive, and Southwest 162nd Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hodge, second by Councilwoman Bell.
Mayor.
Question, Mr. Porter? Ms. Garner?
Thank you, Mayor. I got some emails about this property, and I have a couple questions for staff. It's not a very pretty site, and most of the emails I got were complaints about the property. And in the facts here, it says it's currently used as a storage yard. And I wanted to know what staff defines storage yard as, because I looked through B1 and B2 and tried to see if it's compatible, and it really looks more like a junkyard. Some of the things there are nice. There's boats, there's RVs, but some of it's very run down.
I know city staff has been working with the landowner to fix their code issues, and under what it will change to, which is light commercial use, the storage use would not be allowed, and the applicant, the property owner is aware of that, and it is a major intersection, and they will be probably coming in for a rezoning at some point in the future for a B1 or a B2 use. But at this time, that use is an existing non-conforming and would be allowed to continue. They do have to deal with any kind of code enforcements, like code issues, as anyone else would have to do.
Okay, well, I do agree with the commercial zoning, but it seems to be, it's come up and it's brought the attention of the residents, and they've really been complaining about it. So I don't know if, Chief, if they're already working on it, they are. Good, but if they're not, can you send them over there? Mayor.
This is Michael Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Porter?
Well, I think Ms. Garner brought up the same questions because I know that the code enforcement has done some cleanup out there. They've cleaned up some of it, but the concern was the community wanted to make sure that it didn't get the opportunity without some input to go and do a use like he's been doing out there. So we just wanted to put on the record that he would have to come back for the proper zoning. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Ms. Bell?
Thank you. This actually fixes that. This helps fix it, I should say, cleans it up a little bit. I had gotten a lot of emails and some actually phone calls on this as well, and I did put a call into code enforcement, and there have been citations issued upon the owner of this particular property, and it was becoming a storage yard for a bus business. And I went out and drove by it and was actually looking at it, and drove by there actually quite a few mornings last year when I was taking my grandson to school, and it was really very, very unsightly. And when I did call code enforcement, they pretty much told me that I didn't start anything. They were already on it. When I had called them, they were already very well aware of it. They were already on it. And they said that they had already gotten a lot of calls and complaints upon this particular area. And the usage that the owner was using it for was not legal. So it is definitely being taken care of. And that this does correct that problem, actually. And any future zoning, they're going to have to come back to us and get that approval. And that this is, I guess, another correction, if you will. This is another correction. So this is good. What we have here tonight is a lot of cleanup. It's a lot of cleanup from everything I've been reading. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, this is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comment from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner? Yes. Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
8 ayes, your last item under legislative matters. It's the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending ordinance number 2005-0934, providing for amendment to the city budget for the fiscal year which commenced on October 1, 2005, in order to increase both the revenue and expense items of various funds within the budget by carrying forward encumbered capital project funds from prior fiscal year, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Second. Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any comments from council? If not, I'll open a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? This is an amendment of our budget. No comments from the audience. I'll close the public comments. Any comments from council? Final comments. If not, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Garner? Yes. Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do we have any public comments at this time? Any public comments at this time? If not, we move on to business from the city manager.
Too quick for me.
Give us your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Hiram Farmer. I reside at 2646 Southeast 21st Court, Homestead, Florida, zip code 33035. First of all, I'm coming here first of all to thank the commissioners. I have another letter that I brought home this evening. Some of you there kind of recognize me as being a familiar face around here. I just wanted to come back and thank those who made a donation. Some of them were such an immediate response, such as the city attorney, Commissioner Hodge, who I have something waiting for me once I do the correct paperwork. Everyone involved. I received a $200 check from someone that the name doesn't really ring a bell. I think I met them here the night that I spoke. Things have been going great with the community service project, and for those of you who don't know about it, I'm a phys ed teacher at Leisure City K-8 Center, and we're doing something with St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And the response has been great. It's been great. And as I said, I know we can't mix politics and religion, so I always say that I'm on a mission. And it came to mind to get the business sector and the community leaders involved instead of just using the children at the school and their parents and relatives. And just to give you some idea of how the response has been, I've been out to the Florida City Outlet Mall, and Nike Outlet has promised me that they will send water bottles with the Nike logo, mini basketballs with the Nike logo, and little bracelets that are very popular with the kids today. The Izod shop there promised me that they will give book bags and materials. I know you say Izod doesn't have those things, but initially they said they were giving shirts that were outdated for our kids who come from some underprivileged areas. But after finding out they couldn't do that, the owner said that his wife worked with the GREAT program, and she had a lot of things like book bags and supplies that would be helpful to our kids. I ventured out to the Mazda dealership in Kendall to get my car changed, and it led to the manager of the store saying that they would have a car there on site with a banner. And it goes on and on. What I'm saying is that people have responded really well to the request of helping the children of St. Jude's in partnership with Leisure City. We're about to close out this, and it may sound a little funny. You may see me again because we have another project, the American Heart Association Jump Rope for Heart, which is for heart disease and stroke, which is the #1 and #3 killers in America. And I guess you could say I sort of have been led to deal with that too, because I have a father who has suffered 2 mild heart attacks, and I had an older brother rather, who died of a rare heart disease. So I'm sort of moved to deal with that issue also. Main thing is I just wanted to thank you people for allowing me to get here. I didn't really know the procedure, and I spoke to the proper people, and they told me I had to come here and speak. I'm a school teacher, and I speak to kids all the time, but this sort of makes me feel like, I'm a politician or something, which I'm not. Everything I'm saying here, it's not programmed. No one didn't write it up. It's coming from right here, my heart. And, when you're just honest with people, you'll be surprised how they respond to it. I see my neighbor over there who just coughed. Yes, I live in Keysgate, and that's my neighbor. We park right next to each other. We've chatted about different things. I'm talking about Commissioner Walden, Councilman Walden. Norman Hodge, who knows me quite well. I've talked with him on a number of different issues, and everything's working out okay, if you know what I mean. Mayor Warren, who I spoke to, I saw him on the street, and I told him we were having the event at FICA Williams, and he was very pleased to hear what was going on. We had a big celebration over the summer where I did some volunteer hours working with the kids in that area. My friend over over here the clerk, who I've seen quite a bit, and she's been very helpful and always has, as I say, positive words of encouragement, and she knows what I'm talking about. Never hear anything negative come out of her mouth. I'm familiar with most of you, and I'm pleased with the response. I don't know Amanda Gardner, but I hear that she's involved with education, and as a teacher, I feel that educators don't get their due. We have a tough job, and in dealing with kids, you don't always get that pat on the back. You sometimes get complaint about doing things wrong, but as educators, we know that that sort of comes with the territory, and I'd like to speak with her on issues that come up. And also, I'd just like to let everyone know, because I haven't heard it yet, but as I said, I work at Leisure City K-8 Center, but just in case you didn't know, we went from, in a year and a half span, from a D to a C, almost B, to this past year, a B, 8 points short of an A. Nice. And as we came back this year, our principal, Mr. Charles Hankinson, sort of let us know we're under the gun. And he set the bar higher, and we're ready to respond to it. So hopefully we'll see an A, but even if you don't, just seeing that D, C almost B, B almost A, we're coming up. You know, I just say that because I heard someone earlier speak of their school, but I guess you kind of say I'm tooting my horn for Leisure City, which, if you know where it's located, a lot of the kids in that area, I'm just going to be honest, a lot of people, I'm not saying you all, but a lot of people didn't think we would be where we are now. And due to that success, you probably noticed a lot of improvements being done to the building. We had replaced the computers with state-of-the-art equipment in the media center. Everywhere you look, you see new things going up. As a phys ed coach, I'll just say this and I'll leave it like this. We still have one of the outdated PE shelters. We do a great job with it in spite of, but I noticed that the newer schools that are built, when compared to our, as I call it, little smaller shelter with 3 full-time teachers and only 1 desk and 1 file cabinet and no air conditioning and no room for a computer to be put in, and we're in the technology age, we're a little behind, but still, I say that our PE program can match anyone in Dade County. That just tells you how I feel about it, in spite of not having the updated facilities. I spoke with, and on that, and then I close, I spoke to Councilman Walden's brother who went to Leisure City, and he was shocked to hear that this PE area is still the same as when he was in school. He said, "You all still over there by the cafeteria on the court?" I said, "Still the same." "That little small office?" I said, "Still there." "One little file cabinet?" I said, "Still there." He said, "Coach so-and-so." I said, "Well, I don't know who that was, but that was a coach a long time ago, but it's still the same with me, Coach Farmer, Coach Delaford, and Coach Green. It's still the same outfit." But as I said, we're still carrying on, taking care of business, doing innovative things like teaching health and fitness, aerobics, giving home learning assignment, reading assignments, which deal with the FCAT strategies. We're doing what we're supposed to do as educators, and then a little bit more as physical educators, because a lot of people think all we do is roll out a ball and sit under the shade tree, but I think if you come out there, you'll be very pleased with what you see. I'm kind of dressed inappropriately because I spent some late hours after school taking care of some matters, dealing with parking. I have the job of placing cones where parents want to park, and I say want to park because it's illegal parking, but I've done a pretty good job so far because most of the people give me a funny look when they pass by and have to go and park somewhere else and don't park in the illegal parking zones.
But let Principal Hankerson and the whole team that leads the city know how much we appreciate what you guys are doing each and every day for our young kids. So
that
share our appreciation to them and the whole faculty and team there.
I would definitely let them know that, and as I said, I didn't mean to get so long, but I guess when you kind of get, as they say, full, you have to let it come out. I just want to, most of all, just thank you all for allowing me to come here to begin with weeks ago to make the plea for help for St. Jude's, and you all have responded, and you to be commended, and just continue to do the good work. I'm proud to say that I'm a citizen of Homestead.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Robert Carnes. I'm at 2269 Southeast 27th Drive, Homestead, Florida. I'm here once again this year. We're with the Florida City Razorbacks 150s, trying to help these kids that are in the low-income housing area play for Florida City. 3 years straight, we went up to Nationals and brought back the National Championship. Right now, we have a deadline to August 31st to get 25 more kids registered. Our Florida City 150s will not be able to play this year. We're asking the support of all of the residents, our business owners in Florida City that can help us.
What are we trying to get, Mayor? Money? What are we trying to get, Mayor? Money, or so you got August 31st to do what?
We need to raise about, we were told about $2,800 for these kids to play. It's like about $85 a piece to play. Not trying to down Florida City, but they are not, we got money for these kids to go when they went to Nationals. Commissioner Bell helped us. When we won Nationals and came back, Florida City has not done nothing for these kids. Homestead's been there for us. That's why we come to Homestead Council, like I told Ms. Bell earlier. Last year, I stepped to the council and told Florida City that they need to do some things for the kids. Of course, what happened? I got for blame for went to the council and did all what has to be done. So what we're trying to do is keep these kids off the streets, the one that we have. And this weekend on the 26th at 3:30, we'll invite y'all to come out to our jamboree at Palmetto Park. We'll be playing Palmetto and Richmond before the season starts. That's if we get the money for the kids to play.
Mayor, these telephone numbers that are on here, is that someone that works for Florida City?
That is the commissioner of the park.
Commissioner of the park. So
He came to me and tried to kick me off the park, but I went through the mayor and told the mayor that what's going on. So I'm back out there this year, but like Commissioner Bell said, somebody needs to step to the mayor to deal with this issue, because Florida City Park, you go out there right now, the hurricane destroyed it, they haven't fixed it.
Why don't you put the telephone numbers out to the public and see if anybody can call and help?
The numbers that they can reach us at is 305-360-5155.
Okay, Mayor, thank you.
Business from the city manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of things. One item is that in talking with city attorneys, we've been proceeding with filing on liens code enforcement liens mainly, without really bringing it to council, letting you know what's going on. We thought it might be better that if we, when we start to file these liens, that we bring it before council in the event that there's some issue you may want us to hold off or want to know about prior to filing a lawsuit. But these are somewhat post facto, but we'll start doing this in the future. We'll bring them up prior to filing. But we have filed code enforcement liens, various reasons, against the Gospel Truth Pentecostal Church, Sun Properties LLC, and Strike Force Development Inc., Paradise Towers. To let you know that, we've also filed just Friday an eviction complaint seeking to terminate the lease agreement between the city and Homestead Bowling. This would be the last action if we're successful here to obtain possession of the bowling alley. I will say that we are working with the bowling management there. We want to keep things moving and not just cut off the activity there, but keep things moving as we go. But we do want to get control of the property, legal control of the property. So I wanted to advise of those liens and those suits that have been filed.
And not to interfere with Kurt's report, but we will feel more comfortable, and we'll know that you'll be advised if we bring these to you before we file these. There may be a reason, for one reason or another, why things that we're not aware of. What we're doing is we're picking out the biggest liens and foreclosing on those liens, and we're not foreclosing on very little ones. But there may be a reason that you know of, a particular whatever, but we're going to bring you these in advance and get authorization from you in advance without discussing the merits of the case, but we'll tell you it's a code enforcement, and that way you'll know exactly what's going on. So when someone says you filed, the city of Homestead filed suit against this or that, you say, I know that, we authorized it. And that way you'll be fully up to date, and then we can have, if something comes up, we can have an executive session or this or that, but most of them are not that complicated. But I felt, Kurt and I both felt it was very important for you to know that we were pursuing these, and if you have any questions about any individual ones, we're happy to answer, but we wanted to bring you up to date.
Mr. Vice President? Kurt, maybe you use the terms interchangeably. What you're talking about is getting prior approval for the filing of a foreclosure action, not the filing of the liens.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Secondly, the start of our next Citizens Academy has been postponed until Wednesday, September 20th. If you've already signed up, your spot will be saved. If you haven't signed up and would like to do so, now's your chance. And we have a few spots available. You can sign up on the city's website, www.cityofhomestead.com, or call 305-224-4415. Lillian, to sign up for the academy. People's schedules have been tight right around school. We try to get it started, and people are having scheduling problems. So we were moving the academy back a couple of weeks to hopefully accommodate people's schedules. Also, the City of Homestead will be closed on Monday, September the 4th, the holiday, in observance of Labor Day. Residential and commercial garbage and trash will be collected and remain on their normal schedule. So I want to make sure the viewing public gets that, those that are viewing our council meetings. Saturday, you noticed, I'm sure the whole city noticed, we had an outage. It lasted for approximately 46 minutes. The cause of the outage was lightning was hit by, a transformer was hit by lightning and blew out a relay and messed up the transformer a little bit. So with the exception of Leisure City, which took a little longer, they had some other issues, we were back in operation in 46 minutes. And that's basically all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to again remind the public and announce once again that we're having a series of public presentations to take public input on the proposed charter amendments that are proposed to appear on the November ballot, subject to change after considering the public input and the council having the opportunity to review that. First meeting will be tomorrow. All of the meetings are at 7 p.m. Tomorrow, August 22nd, here at City Hall. Wednesday, August 23rd, at the Ficol Williams Community Center. Thursday, August 24th, at the Villages of Homestead Audubon Clubhouse. And then the last presentation will be Monday, August 28th, at the Minor League Clubhouse at the Homestead Sports Complex. Again, each and every one of those presentations begins at 7. Everyone's welcome. We welcome your input. We look forward to bringing that back to council. I'd like to again commend Chief Roll and your men and women out on the street for putting on another first-class community policing event out in Waterstone a couple weekends ago. Great turnout and again, great interaction with the public, and I know many more of those are scheduled, and I know we all look forward to that. Again, I want to remind the public that September 5th is primary election day. Please remember to get out and vote. That's the day after Labor Day. Watch publications. Early voting is available throughout the community. I think the closest early voting site is the Florida City Hall. There may be, I'm sure there are others scattered throughout the county that may be more convenient for your work hours, but it's important that we turn out as a community, because when we do, it sends a strong message to every office holder at every level that this community is paying attention and is now a force to be reckoned with. We have the population, we have the interest, and it's very important to get out there and have your say. As you know, as your public officials, we can't stress that enough, that those others in other offices at county and state level need to know that Homestead is a force and a factor in elections. And finally, I just want to say, Mayor, that once again, it was an honor and privilege to attend the Florida League of Cities Conference. I know each of us that attended came back rejuvenated and well educated in the latest events that are transpiring around the state and what's happened at the state level. We had an opportunity to sit in on a debate between some of these state Senate candidates as well as a few of the candidates for governor. And as always, it was very enlightening, and I know that in light of some major legislation this year, our Community Redevelopment Agency in the city has a tough way to go to address some of the issues without some of those tools in our toolbox, such as eminent domain, that we used to have. And again, that kind of goes back to what I mentioned before. It seems, and our own lobbyist here has made the presentation, that in some regards, those who represent various areas of the state are almost anti-municipality. And from where we sit, we're the first line of defense in so many ways. And that's why that, when we look at the qualifications, those who have served in local public office certainly usually get my preference for consideration, because this is where it happens. It doesn't happen in Tallahassee. If you don't know the ins and outs of local government, it's difficult to go and do us a service in Tallahassee. So again, the League of Cities was very important, and again very enlightening, and again points out the need that we all get out and encourage our friends and relatives and neighbors to get out and vote as well. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Mr. Porter? Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of points. One of the things the Vice Mayor brought up about the community policing, there is another one this coming Saturday. It's the 26th from 11 to 3 at Portofino Estates in Waterstone. So those have been, I know we've run into various council members out there, and the police have done a good job, but there is another one this weekend. So if anybody wants to attend in that neighborhood or from any other neighborhood. Second of all, Mr. Manager, if you could, would you contact from the public safety aspect of what Keysgate Charter, we have a real problem with the traffic. In some instances, backs all the way up to almost 328 and I think it's
most instances. Most instances. Well, it's a daily basis now.
Well, we've got a severe problem, and I believe from public safety we need to go and sit with the principal and find out what their internal operations are and how they stage, stack, and all the, I mean, it's a real serious problem. I know it's not the only problem, but it's my understanding that the principal's policies are what's really negatively affecting the police department's abilities to do any kind of controls out there. So, and if we could set it up, if it has to be at her office or whosever office it is, if we need to go to the location, but we need to find out what they're doing because it doesn't seem to be working.
I can share that with you right now.
So, Chief, if you and the manager could get with myself maybe and Captain Kennedy, Major Kennedy, maybe that would be something we should take a look at. Also, the other day, Public Works, Julio and Mike and myself and Robert Landon, we did a little bit of a riding around, and again, this is an issue that had been brought up before. You brought it up with regards to the plantings in the middle of 344. They are again in the roadway, and I think it's really it needs to be to the point where if they cannot maintain that, they need to get them out because it's squeezing traffic. The road is covered with dump trucks right now, and they move this way, and I know a lot of instances where people are afraid and getting run off the road. So could we please contact whoever's, and I know we spoke about this, but I believe it's an urgent issue that we need to contact whoever is responsible and get them to trim that back and get those out of the roadway or get them out completely if they cannot maintain them. So I would appreciate that. That's all I have, Mayor.
And Mr. Porter, let me emphasize that because I've gotten several emails on both your issues.
Yes.
So could we get a report back at the next meeting or the committee of the whole, a status report, because we get a lot of emails about those two, particularly especially the traffic at that school area, just terrible. So let's see what we can do. That need to be resolved as soon as possible.
But Mayor, I do believe that if she or the new principal is not from this community, they cannot back up all that traffic on Kingman. It is really, and then the parents trying to get in and out, they don't allow for the cross streets to be left open. So it's, I think we just need to have a meeting of the minds.
It's a safety issue, so I think it should be out of the hands of the principal.
That's right. That was the
safety issue. It's our responsibility, so let's make sure she understands that.
That was a comment with Major Kennedy this afternoon.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Councilman Warman.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, let's see, in less than 12 hours, we're going to have the grand reopening of Nostrada Park, and that will be a lovely event in the morning at 9 o'clock. So I hope that all of you can come out and see the good work that's been done there. I want to congratulate our internal auditor, Mr. Albright. I got an email, I think it was today, Sheila, you sent me an email, and I don't know how he thought of it, but he asked Sheila to check on the tags on our city vehicles, and we're able to save approximately $2,500 just with a little phone call. So, nice. Good job.
Wow.
Good job. It's already paid for this week. But if I might, I'll at the next council meeting, Jim, I'll ask you to give a little report on what your new project might be, or some of your vision as to some of the things that you'd like to see done in the next year, just as your vision. Because I don't think the public's had an opportunity to really meet you yet, so believe me, he's there. And I attended the Governor's Summit of Tourism. My only complaint was that it wasn't long enough. I say this all the time. That conference has so many wonderful meetings and programs to learn from, and you can go from early in the morning till the last one in the evening, but you can't possibly attend them all. So I'm hoping that they will at least stretch it out for an extra afternoon next year, so that we will have an opportunity to go to all the meetings. Carl Hyacin was one of the speakers. I think his name is Captain Lovell from Apollo 13. He was one of the speakers as well. Just so interesting, and I found somebody that would be really great for the Martin Luther King breakfast, a motivational speaker, a gentleman from Washington, D.C., so I'll get with Marlene on that and share it with you. I bought his book, so if you'd like to read it, you can read it. I would also like to say that the Little Angels, we're having our casino night on September 16th at Keysgate Golf and Country Club, and the big Halloween party is going to be on October 27th at the Champions Club at the Homestead Motorsports Speedway. I'll be getting flyers to Patty, and I'll get tickets to all the council members, and hopefully y'all will come. Of course. I'm not going to be here at the next meeting. I have to have a little bit of surgery. Just so I've had a lot of phone calls, just so people know I am cancer-free. It's just that this was I knew it was going to take 4 surgeries, and this is a surgery. It's an elected surgery that my oncologist has recommended me I have, but it's going to be major surgery, so I won't be in attendance or on the telephone at the next meeting because my surgery is August 30th. But I will be hooked up to that little contraption during all the other meetings after that. So they'll be hearing me on the telephone. Be interesting this time around. I'll be able to watch it on the computer. I wonder if there's a delay. The speak out of turn. It's not. It is on time? Oh, good. And I just want to remind everybody that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So because it takes so long to get your appointments, so start making your appointments for your mammograms if you haven't done so. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. Councilwoman Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a milestone in our family. We took our very youngest child off to college yesterday, took her to Tampa, so we are official empty nesters, and my daughter has already told me I can't decorate her room and bathroom because I already had aspirations for it, and she said hands off. So that's one milestone, but we're very proud of her. She's entering as a junior, actually, because she completed Miami-Dade here first, so we're proud of her. We've already gotten comments on the Florida League of Cities Conference. It was really fabulous, and I'm increasingly impressed at the caliber of speakers and the caliber of speakers not only in the opening general sessions and in the general sessions, but for the workshops as well. And interestingly enough, we had as one of our open session speakers James Lee Witt, who was FEMA director under President Clinton, and then at the Florida Municipal Power Association conference, we had Michael Brown, former director of FEMA. It's very interesting to hear from both of these gentlemen, and very interesting to get their perspective on it. And actually, Michael Brown was fabulous. What a fabulous speaker, and to get his perspective on what he had forewarned, and what he had said, and what he had done, and what he had implemented before. It was very, very interesting. You kind of came away with a little bit of a different perspective than when you first heard him. It was very, very interesting. Also, the Women in Municipal Government Luncheon was fabulous, and they had a wonderful speaker from the Dale Carnegie Institute who was a trainer herself, and just a fabulous speaker. And I took a couple of the workshops on business and professional relationships and ethics, and it's just very, very, very good. Also, I really loved, of course, the political forums, and we got to hear from the gubernatorial candidates as well as Catherine Harris for Senate. She was actually the only one there for U.S. Senate. Very, very good speakers. Very, very well done. And I must say they all held their own with a particular Tampa, was it Jacksonville? There was a Tampa reporter.
St. Pete.
It was Tampa St. Pete, yeah. And he came off pretty harsh and pretty biting, and he was put in his place pretty quickly. So it was very, very interesting, and I really did like it. Also, I attended the Schnebley's Winery groundbreaking ceremony, which was a fairly big event, and I wanted to have some representation from City Council there. And we had Commissioner Moss, Commissioner Sorensen, and Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Alvarez also in attendance. So that was very, very good. And one of the things that really came across to me is two of the most important issues impacting the state of Florida that were addressed at the Florida League of Cities Conference. The two issues that we just kind of kept hearing again and again. Number one, affordable housing, and number two, the insurance crisis in our state.
And we are going to be seeing more and more ideas, resolutions, financing in the area of affordable housing. And I kind of sat there thinking, we've gotten a jump on that for years. Homestead has been a city that has been proactive, not just reactive to what's happening in the market of late, but been proactive for many, many years in the area of affordable housing. But as Mr. Losner stated, it is getting harder and harder for CRAs, especially in the area of eminent domain, as a reaction to what happened with the Kelo decision. So it is getting tougher and tougher for CRAs to obtain land for affordable housing, kind of as a gut reaction. But anyway, I thought that was very, very telling, and you will continue to see a lot more probably from the state legislature in those two areas, those two main areas. And lastly, I really, really think this is something the city needs to implement. At the League of Cities Conference, those booths and different vendors are set up, and they really try to sell you on their particular ideas. But this is an idea I've been thinking about for a long, long time, and we discussed it very, very briefly, and that is cameras at traffic lights, specifically to combat red light running. That has just become outrageous in the city of Homestead. It is getting so bad that even coming out of the city of Homestead, when you're trying to cross over to get on the Campbell Drive to make a left, sometimes I cannot even go because the red light runners are blocking the intersection, and if I go, I'm stuck right in the middle of Campbell Drive. So it's getting so bad, and it's happening on Chrome, and with the fact that we don't have turn arrows at all, people are just red light running because they're never not going to be able to get across at all. So it's something I wanted, and I thoroughly had quite a lengthy discussion. And Red Flex is a turnkey operation, and as we discussed, and I know there would be legal issues that we would need to look at, but I believe it would work just like kind of like getting a parking ticket. You couldn't assess points, and you couldn't actually ticket the car. Basically the car and the license plate. And it's quite legal. It's being done in many, many, many states. But the thing I wanted to know was, what is it going to cost? And it's a turnkey operation, and there are 3 different ways to finance this. And the third one was the one that I found most palatable, and that was basically for $41 per citation. That's turnkey. That's including all of the equipment. That's including the citation, the collection of the fees, and everything. And the average fee is a minimum of $100 per red light runner. So not only could this correct a severe problem, and in every state that I looked at that has implemented these particular cameras at the lights have cut the red light running and accidents by at least 40%, and some as high as 65%. And they're really, and I sat there for about a half an hour and just watched over and over the cameras and how fine the resolution was. And not only was it good for red light running, but you could see over and over who was at fault in traffic accidents. And very often in red light running, if there's not a witness, it's just one person's word against another. So I thought this would have a dual purpose. But it would not be, it would be revenue generating. It wouldn't be kind of like an out-of-pocket. It would actually be revenue generating. So it's something I really want this city to take a look at. And I've got the information on it. And please, let's take this seriously. Let's take a look at it, because we've had so many traffic accidents in our city and the surrounding areas because of red light running. And I know that's the only area that we can target, because you can't target speeders, because that's associated with the driver and points. We can only target red light running. So let's start there. Mayor, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Ms. Garner?
Thank you, Mayor. Just some quick updates. Our code committee has continued to meet, and we're doing our due diligence. We'll be bringing back the business licensing very soon. After that, we'll also be bringing forward some landscape code, making some good changes and strengthening that. You'll be seeing that soon as well. Next month, the Mayor's Youth Council will be holding their elections for their new mayor and council, so I look forward to bringing them during the month of September to have their swearing in. With you, Mayor. And just one other thing, I've been getting a lot of comments from Keysgate residents. The stop signs at Kingman and Campbell are a temporary safety measure. The county is in the process of putting the lights up, and every time we call, they tell us it will be within weeks. So please just bear with us. The stop signs are there for your safety, and it's just temporary. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Garner. Mr. Hodge?
Yes, Mayor. Just real briefly on the guests that I had to come and do a presentation tonight. You know, if anybody's been watching any of the ads, all of our legislators and governors are running on the insurance bandwagon, and that is because it's a problem. And my focus was here is there are good legislation out there that can help us reduce our rates, and hopefully, you know, when we elect these individuals in September the 5th and November the 7th, that we hold them accountable for this, and to try and get good legislation that can help us. And just one of the things I did want to point out is, you know, in Dade County we're kind of indifferent from the rest of the world, even in Florida, as most of you may know. You know, Dade County is also number one in insurance fraud in the whole United States. All right. So, and also number one in litigation, insurance litigation in the United States. And we're number 2 in accidents in the United States. So based on those three evils, you know, we have no choice but to pay a little bit more than the rest of the world. But we can help get some of these things tamed, if you will, if we have the right support behind it, and we get behind our legislators and make them be responsible for some of the legislation that's out there that can help control some of our costs. So I just wanted to share that with the community, and hope that we can rally some support throughout the community over the next couple of years to see if we can do something about these rates. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Hodge. A couple of items on my business: appointment of the new mayor's youth council members. Was that Shemaine Matherin and Esther Matherin?
Motion.
Properly moved by Ms. Garner, second by Mr. Hodge. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Just want to remind the community of an opening in the General Employees Pension Board and also the Historic Preservation Board. I want to highlight two comments, one by the Vice Mayor, one by Mr. Hodge. The September 5th election is very, very important. And I know historically people have a tendency of not voting in primaries. A lot of our federal funding, our federal support, our state support is geared toward voter turnout. You ignore it as a municipality if you don't get out there and vote. We don't get the resources at the federal and state level if we don't get out there and vote. So I want to emphasize to the registered voters in the city of Homestead to please get out and vote the candidates of your choice on September the 5th. It's very, very important. The second issue is this windstorm insurance situation. I'm getting a lot of emails from citizens about what can this council do about reducing your insurance rate. Very little. Matter of fact, nothing. Other than to encourage you in what I'm doing, I've contacted Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart and Ileana Ross-Layton and all of these folks to get behind an effort to really encourage the governor. This council did pass a unanimous resolution, encourage the governor and the legislature to convene and do something about this insurance crisis in the state of Florida. Now, what you can do as a citizen is to pick the phone up and call the governor's office and call your state representative to encourage them to join in and getting something done about this windstorm insurance. We have citizens in this community that's paying more for insurance than their mortgage. And we have citizens that are losing their homes because they can't afford the high windstorm rates here in the city of Homestead. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. And ladies and gentlemen, we're losing citizens because of insurance in Homestead. People are moving out of Homestead because of windstorm insurance. So what we have done all that we can do, but I would encourage everyone in the city of Homestead to pick the phone up and call the governor's office. He has a responsibility, and so does his legislature, to do something about this insurance. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So let's just hope that the ones that elected September the 5th and in November, that you look at those candidates that are supporting something to be done about insurance in the state of Florida. If not, we're all going to be in very serious trouble next year when you get your insurance bill. Just absolutely ridiculous. And let me finally say that Mr. Manager, I have an appointment on the budget tomorrow that I'm going to have to cancel. I'll have to reschedule. I'm flying back out to Tampa in the morning. Marlene, Mr. Manager, so I'll reschedule the budget meeting. Okay? And that's all that I have. Thank you all so very much for coming out this evening.